process P2 is completed, I can take back the P1 into the operating system. This is called a swap in and swap out. Called swap out, swap in. Right? This is known as the swapping process. So next we'll see the next record as contiguous allocation. That means how can we allocate or how can we store our data into the primary memory? Contiguous allocation. So are they going to store the addresses one by the one, that is in the order, whatever we have? So what we do here, we will divide the memory into two partitions. That is resident operating system. This is resident operating system. Usually it's held in the lower or something, it's in the higher also. User processes then held in a high memory. So next part is user processes. Okay. So here single partition allocation, what it does exactly. So it relocates some of the user processes. Okay, used to protect user processes from each other and from changing the operating system code and data. And relocation register contains the value of the smallest physical address in which we keep the physical addresses, that we do it in the relocation register. And you can see, you can observe here, base and the limit register define a logical address space. That means the topmost we will keep some space for operating system. Next are your processes. And what you can understand from here, this process, okay, this is the starting address. Okay, sorry, this is the starting address, this is the ending. And what we can see that this 30,004 will be the base, and the limit is what? So what's the length of this process? 12,090. If you can add 12,090 with a 30,004, you'll get a 40,094. Okay, that means this limit can be used by the CPU to generate the logical addresses to get any part of the data of this process. So starting with the base is 30,004. And you can observe in this hardware which protects the the processors with the base and the limit registers. That means CPU generates a logical address, okay, and the base will be added, okay, for the base plus limit. So whatever we had a limit, you can see that limit is this, base is this. Adding base plus limit, you will get the particular address. Okay, so which particular part of the process you want to select from this main memory will be chosen, right? So here we two types we are discussing about single partition allocation. Second is multiple partition allocation. That means you can generate more partitions. We'll see in the coming slides. Okay, in this heading we'll see about dynamic storage allocation problem. Then how can we satisfy the requests? For example, I've told you already an example to you long back. In which way, if you can place the processes in the primary memory so that I can accommodate many number of processes, which method is best? How can I satisfy a request of a size n from a list of free holes? Free holes are nothing but the number of freely partitions are available in this diagram. You can see that how many free holes are available. Here we have a 3, here we have a 3. How many you want to generate based on what? So how can you this which I use the word, so block of hole, nothing but a block of available memory. So this can be various sizes. So the size can be like one process size can be 1 MB, other process size can be 10 MB, other process size can be a 50 MB also. When that is the case, then how, in which way you satisfy? Then here we use first fit, best fit, worst fit. So first fit stands for which allocates the first hole that is big enough. I mean, which is big enough that can be allocated. So we are having another 10 more minutes to complete this class, and some of you can take the attendance screenshots or some slides screenshots. Take it out and send it to me afterwards. Second method is best fit, which allocates the smallest hole that is big enough. That means which finds out the smallest, I mean, how much it is required. For example, I think we'll see some examples afterwards. Then worst fit means which allocates the largest hole, irrespective whether does it really require the complete size or not. Irrespective of that, suppose you have a 1 GB space freely available. If a process comes with only 1 MB, the entire 1 GB is been completely given to the same process which only requires 1 MB. The space is 1 GB actually, but you are allocating. That's called worst fit. Okay. So first fit and best fit. better than the worst fit. We'll see some examples in the next slides. Okay. Next, we'll take the fragmentation. So what is a fragmentation means like? So fragmentation is dividing the memory into smaller chunks, smaller sizes. Okay, smaller sizes of the partitions, which we can do it. So this can be done in two ways, that is external fragmentation and internal fragmentation. External fragmentation here, the total memory space exists to satisfy a request, but it is not contiguous. Internal fragmentation means allocated memory may be slightly larger than the requested memory. This size difference is memory internal to a partition but not being used. Then how we do this, we'll see in the next. Okay. So this method means dividing the largest memory block into smaller number of chunks, which is used to allocate a particular process. Most important, the heading in this memory management is paging. What is this paging is all about? It's one of the memory management unit, or it's a technique. So that is used to allocate the fixed sized frames, we call it the frames, okay, to a particular processes. We need to generate, we need to allocate them. Let us look at here the definition. Logical address space of a process can be non-contiguous. Process is allocated physical memory whenever the later is available. That means what we do, what is non-contiguous? That means processes data can be scattered anywhere in the physical memory or primary memory. It's not in order, it's not in the particular sequences to get all the data. They are scattered. I mean, some portion is in first 10 MB, some portion is in the middle of the some 10 MB, some last portion is some other some other 10 MB also. They are scattered in different space. That means they are stored in where the free holes are available. That is non-contiguous. Then how can we bring them? How can we get the particular addresses? So we use some technique called as a paging. So this paging divides the physical memory into fixed sized blocks called as frames, and divide logical memory into blocks of same size called as pages. I mean, what we do here, we will divide the logical memory into small size called as pages. We'll divide the physical memory or primary memory into fixed size blocks called as frames. And what we do, we keep track of all the free frames. That means what we are going to do, we are going to find out which free frames are available so that I can accommodate the processes into the particular block. So to run a program of a size n pages, what we need to find the n number of free frames and load the program. So we need to find out where the free frames are available, where I can get the data. So we need to set up, for that we need to set up a page table to translate the logical address into physical address. That means we need to find out the actual memory block. For that we need to translate logical address to the physical address. For that we use a memory management unit technique called as paging, which is used to find out how does it look like. We'll see in the next slides or diagram. Before that, let us see that this address which we use in the paging technique called as address translation scheme, this address is generated by the CPU and it is divided into two things, that's page number and a page offset. P, we use page number. This is used as an index to the page table. What page table? Page table consists of different types of pages and page addresses which you want to do it. That means I have told you already here, logical address is divided into number of small blocks called as pages. All right. So that is page number. Page offset is nothing but after combining with the base address, we will get the actual physical memory address which you want to see or which you want to get the data from the physical memory. And look at this diagram and you can easily understand that how the address translation architecture works. This is your CPU. It generates logical address. Logical address consists of P and D. I told you already what is P. P is page number. D is offset. P is page number. D is offset. What is the page number? Is used as an index to the page table. P is used as an index to the page table. This is your page table. Okay, page table consists of the addresses of different pages of a particular process. Okay, now we'll find out the particular page number and what this particular page number holds. The P is indicating index for the page table, and this page table holds the the particular frame address. Okay, the frame number and the offset are added together. So what we can generate? Physical address. So page table holds the frame address and the offset. So already we used base and the limit. So that base and the limit, like that here we use limit is nothing but your offset, okay, and the P is nothing but which generated by the CPU called as a logical address, and this logical address called P is always indicating to the index of the page table, and the page table holds a particular frame number, and the frame number and the offsets are added to get the particular physical address. This is called as address translation by using paging technique, and it was asked n number of times in the question paper. This particular question, what's the paging and how this paging can be used to do that. So I think you got clear that. Okay, this as a memory management unit, let me open the particular textbook. I'll show you what exactly this is all about. I'll give you the perfect definition which is there in the textbook only. Just a minute. So I can give you the definition of the paging is like this. Paging is a memory management scheme that permits the physical address space of a process to be non-contiguous. That means anywhere the processes addresses can be stored into the physical memory. So it avoids some of the problem where we were getting previously. What was the previous problem? The previous problem was that we were unable to fit the memory chunks of different sizes because you don't have a space of that sizes in your primary memory where you cannot do that. So what we can do, so to avoid this problem, so we can store the data. So what we introduce here, a non-contiguous, okay, process to be non-contiguous, that we can permit the physical address, and this physical address can become non-contiguous. I think I can tell you. 1 second. Yeah, this physical memory can be a non-contiguous. That means it's not need to be always a data or this particular instruction can be stored in order. For example, this instructions needs a size of 10 MB. If 10 MB is not available here, it can store here. That means it can be anywhere. So what we can do, we can get that addresses by using paging technique. So this paging technique is used to get the address of the particular process data where it is storing into the primary memory. Okay, and we have done it. So what it does, I have shown you already here what exactly it does. Okay, it divides the physical memory into fixed size blocks called as frames, and it divides the physical page table into different pages, and it keeps track of all the free frames. Okay, and this is address translations. I think we'll stop now because it's almost we are ending. I'll take tomorrow exactly at 12 o'clock only. We'll continue with some other headings of this address translations. We have some examples here. We'll see, we'll go through this. These are available in the textbook only. So I have uploaded the entire textbook in the Google Classroom. So try to download it and try to go through the headings which I'm discussing. Where you have a difficulties, you can discuss with me. Otherwise, it will be a problem for you. So that's why go through all the headings which I have discussed.